Amendment 50, let's move on to Senate Bill 5280 and the amendment. Luke.
Yes, thanks again, Luke Wickham, Committee Counsel. There's one amendment to Senate Bill 5280, the bill that requires that clergy report child abuse and neglect. That's from Representative Taylor. The amendment adds a person who is an elder to the definition of member of the clergy and removes the exception to the requirement for clergy to report child abuse and neglect for information that the clergy member obtains through a confession.
Any questions? Okay. Mr. Vice Chair, Senate Bill 5280.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that Senate Bill 5280 be reported out of committee with a due pass recommendation.
Senate Bill 5280 has been moved and seconded. There are amendments. Representative Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move Wickham 586.
Wickham 586 has been moved and seconded. Remarks. Representative Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In listening to testimony, I was even more motivated to submit this amendment. As a crime victims attorney, a DV attorney, I see folks who have been experiencing abuse for years and years, children who are experiencing abuse from parents, children who experience abuse from other trusted adults. And it's necessary for us to find ways for them to access people to help them. And when you think some of the most trusted people in our community are our clergy, we want them to be able to report. They have the option to report anonymously to CPS, and this is not going to infringe on their penitent privilege, requiring them to go to court. It's about the action that we need to protect our children. And so I put forth this amendment to create a bright line rule because we have so many religions. We want to exercise our First Amendment. We want to make sure that folks have access to get the resources that they need through their faith, but also be safe in doing so. So I urge a yes vote on this amendment. Thank you.
Thank you. Additional remarks. Representative Dent. Representative Walsh.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Without this amendment, I would vote yes on 5280, but with this amendment, I cannot. It's not just a First Amendment in the federal Constitution issue. The state's Constitution speaks even more powerfully to the freedom of conscience. Ritual confession is an essential part of many beliefs, Christian and otherwise, and is a sacrosanct element of religious tradition in this state and this country. With this amendment, to break the seal of the penitent confessor privilege will have a chilling effect, not only on criminals who may confess to a confessor, but on anyone who practices religion. And that is the specific reason for the protections in our state and federal constitution of the right to practice religion and the right to freedom of conscience. As I say, without this amendment, I would vote yes for 5280, but with the amendment, there is a constitutional defect inserted into the bill. I can't vote for the amendment. Please vote no.
Thank you. Additional remarks? Seeing none, all those in favor of Amendment Wickham 586, please indicate with your aye vote. Aye. Those opposed, nay. No. The amendment is adopted. Mr. Vice Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that the adopted amendment be incorporated into a striking amendment and that Senate Bill 5280 be reported out of committee with a due pass as amended recommendation.
Thank you. It has been moved and seconded that Senate Bill 5280 be reported out of committee with a due pass as amended recommendation. Remarks. Representative Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll be extremely brief. This is a companion bill that we had heard before, and I just want to remind the committee members that we are seeking to support children who are in really difficult situations and making sure that they have access to trusting adults who will take action. Take action now to stop the abuse, stop the harm that they're experiencing, and ensuring that the folks who are in our community with the stature and the relationships to help the healing process at the same time. And that also means being able to and be mandated as reporters. Madam Chair, I urge support of this bill. We need to protect our children and get them to the healing that they need.
Thank you. Additional remarks, Representative Dent.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and you know, I really appreciate the thought behind this bill. You know, and there is nothing that will make me angrier than child abuse, except for maybe child sexual abuse. Then I really come uncorked, and I do. But I struggle with thinking that we're going to fix it by making people mandatory reporters. I don't think that's going to be, and I think we really try to do that in good faith in our society. That we're going to convince folks that if these bad things are going on, you should report it. That's going to be your job. But if bad things are going on, you should report that without being mandated to do that. And I think that comes back to our society and how we view our society, and we view our children, and we view our families and the structure that we live in. And you know, the religious issue, if something happens in a church around child abuse or sexual abuse, then it's big news. The same thing happens somewhere else and in other organizations, it's not quite such big news. And I don't think by having mandatory reporters is going to change that. I don't think it's going to change who does what. I'm just, you know, and they've done some of this. I really appreciate staff looking back and giving us information about other states. And I have, while they're not family, they were closer than family, actually, some friends in Oklahoma. And you know, check in with them and tell me about this and where it's become, this is passed, this, you know, laws like this. And they didn't feel like it was the appropriate thing to do. You know, even though it's that law down there now. And, you know, and this is something I got to tell you, I've struggled with this bill a lot, struggled with the one that came through earlier. It's, I just don't think we fix things necessarily by making it mandatory. Some of this has to do with who we are and what's going on with us and what's going on in society. And I think I would truly like to see more emphasis put into doing the right thing and working with each other than making things mandatory, because my struggle is when you tell people they have to do it, sometimes you lose them. And then they don't do it simply because we're Americans and we bow our neck. And that's what I see. So anyway, I know I'm the minority today on this committee to vote no, but I will be a no vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Sen.
Sen votes aye.
Representative Sen votes aye. Cortez.
Cortez votes aye.
Representative Cortez votes aye. Taylor.
Taylor votes aye.
Representative Taylor votes aye. Eslick.
Eslick's votes no, do not pass.
Representative Eslick votes no, do not pass. Couture.
Aye.
Representative Couture votes aye. Callan.
Callan votes aye.
Representative Callan votes aye. Dent.
Dent votes nay, do not pass.
Representative Dent votes nay, do not pass. Goodman.
Representative Goodman votes aye.
Representative Goodman votes aye. Ortiz Self. Representative Ortiz Self votes aye. Rule.
Rule votes aye.
Representative Rule votes aye. Walsh.
Nay, do not pass.
Representative Walsh votes nay, do not pass.
Would anybody like to change their vote? Seeing no changes, will the clerk please report the tally?
Madam Chair, there are 8 ayes, 3 nays, and 0 excused votes.
By your vote, Senate Bill 5280 is reported out of committee. Mr. Vice Chair.